My name is Justyn, and I also go by the name of Brave Scar. And when I was 1 year old, I was involved in a domestic accident at home where I turned over a bucket and I pulled down a bucket of hot boiling water over myself. And at the time in my home, it was very kind of turbulent environment I grew up in. So there was just a lot of things going on. And I was just always a very curious young child. So yeah, I was always just exploring, seeing what's about, and I happened to obviously have my accident and pour hot boiling water over myself, which left me with third-degree burns on the right side of my face, right side of my chest, arms and my back. And growing up, I've just always realised I had scars, but not really understood where they came from. So I've gone on a bit of a journey to understand what happened and what my scars mean to me. And when I was around 22 years old, I decided to kind of make a change and really kind of embrace my scars and begin a story. And that led me to create a 1-minute vlog, which told my story in a really creative way. And from there, sharing that story, so many opportunities has happened for me. And some days are more difficult than the others, but ultimately I'm really kind of happy with and just proud of how many people I've been able to inspire. I think, so growing up with my scars, I just remembered certain times looking in the mirror and just not really being able to connect with the person looking back, and especially not being able to see anyone with scars. Growing up, I didn't see anyone with third-degree burns. I didn't know what the different degrees were. I think the only time I did see a scar on someone else's body was a workman who came to my house, and he, I think, spotted my scar, and he had a scar on his chest, and he was definitely an ethnicity to me as well, which was really interesting to see a scar on someone else's skin. And he told me, just like, as you get older, like the scars do change and it can get better and different things to use. And for me, that kind of helped the understanding. But I think growing up, I was always a resilient and creative child, but often in kind of really darker times and darker days, I didn't really understand how I was going to cope and how I was going to like survive, and if I would actually find like anyone to accept me or love me or just see me as quote unquote normal. Yeah, one of the like highlights, one of the main experiences was I got involved with a charity. Can I say their name?
Yeah.
So one of the most highlights experiences I've been involved in was I got involved with a charity called Children's Burns Trust, and they actually reached out to me. And they're based in Essex, and they're based in Essex Hospital, and they're a trust that support families, individual survivors. And I got involved with them very late stage of my life, when I was 24, so really late, and they support families and survivors from literally day of burn whilst we're in the hospital. I never had that growing up, and what they do is they do a lot of camps for younger survivors, all ranging up to adults as well. And I was lucky enough to be a mentor for young people, young survivors, and he done a week-long camp, so I volunteered. And one moment which stood out for me in particular was sitting in we all sat down in like a room, and we was able to speak about our stories and our experiences, and just having kids as young as like 6 there, and like 12-year-olds, and obviously people my age as well, just talking about experiences, and I just never had that growing up, and it was really fundamental. It was really moving for me to be able to share that experience with them, and just even thinking about it. So every time I think about it, I do just get choked up, because they're just so strong and brave. So just being able to sit in a room with them, the different generations, and hearing their stories and hearing things they go through, and playground experiences. I never had that growing up, and being able to experience it at such a late age, and being able to share my experiences and just hear them speak, and just seeing them be so strong. it just made me feel like I'm doing the right thing, and they can look at me now and be inspired, and I'm inspired by them. As said again, I grew up in a world where I looked at media and social media and didn't see anyone being celebrated, being loved, being speaking about their experiences. So in that moment, I kind of knew like in my life had meaning and purpose, and that's a moment I wouldn't ever forget. Other things is campaigns have reached out to me, and I've been featured in certain campaigns, and just my being able to representation means so much to me. So it's not about like products and companies and businesses and just all the shoots and stuff like that. It's really being able to share my story and tell it how I want to tell it, and work with people who actually understand and I can collaborate with, and who are not just going to see it as trivial, who actually understand the story behind it, and some days are better than the others. Yeah, sorry. I would say it's a journey, and one thing is for certain in your journey in life is change, and change, you can control change. You can't change what's happened or the past, but you can change going forward. And some days are going to be better than other days, but you really have to always tap in and talk to yourself and speak kind words to yourself, and rest. I stress the importance of rest. Like for me, after a good sleep, like I do feel refreshed pretty much at times. You can just put your mind at ease and quieten thoughts, and also perspective, how you look at things as well. There's always someone out there. There's people out there who are gonna accept you and love you and understand you, and you can really harness your power and your uniqueness and your creativity to create something beautiful if you let it. But it's not easy. It's difficult, and some days can be better than the others. But if you find the love and light in this world, you can do anything. You can like literally harness the power and change the world. So I would say change is so important, and you can control that. I'm a personal trainer as well, so I train people, and I always want to link it back into loving your body and mental health. So I'm starting up boot camps in my local community called Brave Body Boot Camp, and it's all to really get people together to celebrate their bodies, where they're at, and understand that the concept of change with it could take a day, it could take however you want it to, but your body and your mind is going to change. You're going to love yourself. That's my passion. Secondly, I really want to tell my story, how I want to tell it, and show the kind of span of what change actually looks like and what loving yourself looks like, and the highs and the lows. So I want to put into a whole documentary called Brave Scar, and that's what I'm really excited about. And just meeting people and being able to talk to people and change people's lives. So yeah, that's what I'm excited about, really. Yeah.